A year passed. Patience became Li Wei's sharpest weapon, more refined than any dagger, more deadly than poison. He wore meekness like silk, lowered his gaze, stuttered at just the right moments, let Ji Heng think he'd won again. Each conversation with Ji Heng was another thread added to the web. He'd drop rumors into the wind, just enough truth to taste real. The western garrisons are stretched thin. General Wen has grown restless. He murmured to a servant he knew would report back. Days later, those same words came out of Ji Heng's mouth in court, dressed as insight. Behind closed doors, the act fell away. In Li Zhen's war chamber, the scent of ink and blood hung in the air. Maps sprawled across the table, pins marking every piece. Li Wei leaned over them, his voice low and sharp. "He thinks he's feeding off me. Let him." Li Zhen nodded once, arms crossed. "And when he bites too deep, we snap his neck." Their eyes met, one all fire, the other all frost. Together they moved without mercy. In candlelight and shadows they became architects of downfall, and Ji Heng, blind with confidence, walked right into it. The trap began with ink, deceit and timing. Li Wei composed the letter himself, his handwriting a flawless imitation of the imperial strategists. It outlined a supposed vulnerability on the western border, masked within an urgent supply report. Nothing overt, just enough to suggest an opportunity. He left it on his desk, casually visible during a tea meeting with Ji Heng. Ji Heng's eyes darted to it. "Sensitive documents, Your Highness?" he asked, feigning amusement. Li Wei gave a shy, awkward smile. "Oh, just something the War Council passed along. Honestly, it's all too complex for me." And Ji Heng, confident in his charm, confident in Li Wei's pliability, took the bait. 2 nights later, cloaked in black, he met with a foreign envoy beneath the willows of the Garden of Whispering Pines. He handed over the scroll, voice low and eager. "The border is weakening. General Wen won't hold if pressured from 2 fronts." The envoy bowed and disappeared into the mist. What Ji Heng didn't know was that the envoy was Li Zhen's man. What he didn't see was the shadow in the trees, Li Wei, watching. And when Ji Heng turned his back, the false scroll vanished from his sleeve. It returned to Li Wei's hands. The noose was tightening. The emperor was frail. Paranoia had carved deep hollows beneath his eyes and left his hands trembling even in silence. He trusted no one, except perhaps the idea that betrayal was always near. Li Wei played into it. He requested a private audience under the pretense of guilt. His voice carried the perfect note of dread. "I have something to confess. Alone," he told the guards. The Hall of Harmony had never lived up to its name. That night, it thrummed with suspicion and barely contained malice. Li Wei knelt before the throne, his head bowed low. "I was careless, and I fear my actions may have endangered the realm," he whispered. The emperor's eyes narrowed. "What actions?" Before Li Wei could answer, the doors burst open. Ji Heng stormed in, robes in disarray, fury painting his face. "Don't believe him. He's twisting everything. He's trying to frame me," he shouted. The emperor rose to his feet, startled. Guards closed in around Ji Heng, unsure of whom to obey. Li Wei slowly stood, calm, patient, silent. Then came the footsteps. Li Zhen entered without announcement, dressed in black and silver, every step deliberate. In his hand, a scroll. He didn't look at the emperor. He didn't look at Ji Heng. He looked only at Li Wei. Then he dropped the scroll at the base of the dais. "Signed by Ji Heng's own hand. Read it," he said, voice as sharp as steel. The emperor opened it. His lips moved silently as his eyes raced across the lines. Each word sliced deeper than the last. Ji Heng sputtered. This is a setup. He forged it." But the court was already stirring. The emperor's face drained of color, his fingers clutched the edge of the throne. "You!" he croaked, eyes darting between Ji Heng and Li Wei. "All of you!" His breath hitched. He staggered back, and then he collapsed. The poison in his tea had worked slowly, planted days earlier by hands not Li Wei's, but guided by his voice. Paranoia had made him drink it. Pride had kept him from testing it. The final move had been made. The throne room emptied slowly, like the tide receding after a storm. Ji Heng remained, kneeling before the dais, his robes torn and stained with sweat. His wrists bled beneath iron shackles. He no longer screamed. no longer smiled. His voice had long since choked on panic and pride. Li Wei stood over him. He was silent at first. Let the moment stretch. Let Ji Hung feel the weight of silence that once suffocated him in his last life. Ji Hung lifted his head, barely. His eyes were bloodshot, desperate. Why? I thought you loved me, but you were playing with me all this time. I've underestimated you. Li Wei, he rasped. Li Wei crouched to meet him eye to eye. No, I never betrayed. It was you from the beginning took me as your pawn in your own game. You thought I didn't know. Being so naive and innocent, you thought you could take advantage of me. Stupid, he said. Ji Hung's lips trembled. You knew. But how? You were not that smart. Is it Li Zhen? Yeah, it should be him. Think whatever you want, it's already too late for you. And this time, there's no escape. You paved your own path. You can't blame on anyone but yourself, Li Wei said. He stood slowly, like drawing a blade from a sheath. Footsteps echoed behind him. Li Zhen approached, silent and calm. Li Wei didn't look back. He's yours. Do what justice demands. Ji Hung said nothing. There was nothing left to say, and that silence was the only mercy he would receive. The skies rumbled the morning Li Zhen was crowned. Thunder rolled in the distance, not as omen but echo. The palace buzzed with hushed urgency. Gold banners were unfurled, drums readied, incense burned thick and slow. The dragon throne stood at the heart of the grand hall, its carvings sharp and glinting with old power. Ministers and nobles lined the walls, all cloaked in silk, all bound in silence. Ji Hung was gone. The courtiers who once whispered against Li Wei now bowed deeper than ever. Li Zhen stepped forward, clad in ceremonial armor black as obsidian, the imperial crown in his hands. His face was unreadable, but his presence, unmistakable, unyielding, imperial. He did not bow to the heavens. He did not speak to the ancestors. He turned and extended his hand to Li Wei. Li Wei walked up the steps, each one shedding a shadow of his past. He took Li Zhen's hand. The silence cracked. Gasps fluttered through the hall. A few nobles whispered in panic. Others knelt immediately, unwilling to test the blade behind Li Zhen's stillness. No proclamation was made. None was needed. This was the new empire, built not on bloodlines but bloodshed, not on legacy but loyalty, not on law but on the unbreakable bond between sword and strategist. That evening, when Li Wei entered his chambers, he froze. Laid out on a redwood stand were garments he had never worn before, silk robes embroidered with phoenixes, delicate and golden, the kind only reserved for the empress. His breath caught. He reached out to touch the collar, fingers brushing the embroidery as if it might vanish. His pulse raced. A knock interrupted the stillness. He turned. Come in. Li Zhen stepped through the doors. No crown, no sword, only quiet intent in his eyes. He looked at the robes, then at Li Wei. They're for you, Li Zhen said. Li Wei blinked. You're making me your empress? Li Zhen took a step closer. I'm asking. I won't make you anything you don't want to be. There was a pause, soft and real. Li Wei looked down at the robes, then back at him. You're serious. I've never been more. You fought beside me, risked more than anyone. You didn't just wanted my loyalty. You wanted me to climb this high. And I'm standing here in front of you as the emperor of this empire because of you. And throughout all the things we faced together, I was slowly falling for you, and now, I know in my heart, I love you, Li Wei. And I don't want anyone but you beside my side as the moon of this empire, Li Zhen said. Li Wei's breath hitched. No power play, no manipulation, just that. I love you. To tell you the truth, I knew from the beginning there's something in the way you look at me. It was more than a brotherly bond, but I thought you'd never say it, Li Wei whispered. I was afraid you'd walk away. Then you don't know me as well as I thought, Li Wei said, stepping into his arms. Yes, I'll be yours, empress or not. Li Zhen kissed him then, slow and reverent. A kiss not of desperation but of recognition, of something long forged through fire, finally made real. They didn't rush. Later the robes lay untouched, forgotten on the stand, as two bodies moved beneath the silk sheets. And when the candles dimmed, When the city outside surrendered to sleep, the empire was theirs, together, as the moon to the sun, as the sword to its oath, as emperor and empress, by bond, by fire, by love.